Hello Internet, and welcome to my live reaction for Eden Zero, chapter 199. When we last left our heroes, I think we just sort of wrapped up the entire Dark Stars storyline, with Sister having quickly, gotten out of the sort of ether beast Clown summoned to chomp on her, seemingly heals Hermit just with, a snap of her fingers, getting rid of whatever little virus killer had died to form, and then enter a sort of mind battle with Clown that I did not like because it was a throwback to the series' earliest uncomfortable BDSM instincts, but at least he's done. It still felt like each individual Dark Star fight felt pretty fine, but the way they just sort of got taken out one by one did feel a little anticlimactic in the end, I feel. That's done. Which also, I don't know what that means for us finding out about Etherion anytime soon. The Clown is still alive. The chapter ended last week with Sister telling Clown that she would take everything from him but his life. Because she's the life of Eden's. But yeah, I don't know where we're going from here now. Because, there's still the battle with Crow going on, and Aknoella coming for Justice and Elsie. But, a lot of the immediate threats have kind of wrapped up. And this chapter's title gives us, I guess, a little bit of a hint of what's happening, but not much context for it. Because the title is chapter 199, Saint Fire Nox, the last member of either Erasion that isn't here. And our picture here is Rebecca, working at a cat maid cafe. The master returns to a huge smile. Let this innocent cat-eared girl show you around. So yeah, Saint Fire Nox, as I guess what we're dealing with now. We open, though, with an exterior of the Eden Zero. Sister and Hermit have averted the Dark Star infiltration crisis on Eden Zero. And we open, Connor is talking to Moscow, who's back on the bridge now. What are Sister and Hermit's status? Moscow tells him they're unharmed. We just received a message from them. Will they find their chance to fire the main cannon on Dead End Crow, Titan of Eternal Darkness? And that seems to be exactly what Connor is saying here. Excellent. Then let us move on to our assault phase against Dead End Crow. And Jean comments, copy that. And Clean then chimes in, most of the small fries in the area have been taken care of. And so with that, Laguna tells the Rutherfords, for now, let's reboard Eden Zero. I guess there's really nothing left besides Crow. But we see Holy in her, night gear floating beside the ship as Crow stares them down. And Holy just sort of acknowledges him. I've been waiting for this moment. Dead End Crow. And then we cut to a bunch of dragons. Back with Justice, the other of our two sort of in-the-air plot lines right now. And Justice sees Aknoella standing atop one of her dragons. And Aknoella just comments, do you know nothing of a dragon's sense of smell, Master Justice? So are dragons alive then? Because I've never quite been certain what exactly a dragon is. I thought they were initially sort of brought up as a high-class ship. But they, I guess, are androids, are robots, that also have an olfactory sense, which is interesting. But that's not the important part, because Justice has been spotted by Aknoella. As he notes, she spotted me. And Aknoella's dragon shoots a beam straight down, the explosion rips across Lendard, and Justice runs out of the way. He does make it. And we come back to Elsie, who's still struggling in her cuffs. Damn it! Enough joking, James! Uncuff me! Let me help you! And then we leave them there to head to the space above Lendard, where the Interstellar are still fighting the dragons. And they're doing alright. The dragons are making some big attacks against the Union army, but they also seem to be doing good damage against the dragons. We see Eraser flying through the battle as he comments, that's a lot of dragons. And Feather tells him, so they're all under God Aknoella's control. And this is Cure, I think is his name. We never really had much of a sense for him. I think it's Cure. Any single one of the Erasion Seis Galactica poses a great danger after all. And all of them have gathered here. Be on your guard. Okay. All of them. Which means Nox is already... This isn't a chapter about Nox arriving, but about Nox being here right now. And a couple lieutenants, who I think they're Holy's lieutenants, comment, all of them? You mean all 6? including the Machine King Ziggy, who I guess is one of the Galactica, which, that's fair. He should be one of the Galactica, to be perfectly honest. The Machine King Ziggy, the Demon King Shiki, the Space Pirate Elsie Crimson, the Titan of Eternal Darkness Dead End Crow, the Mother of Dragons Godak Noella, and the Archbishop Saint Fire Nox. All of the Galactica are here. Okay, so Nox is here. Still in silhouette. She's the only one we've not seen yet. Just her weird, silhouette with her, I guess, kind of papal hat. I still don't know what it means to be the Archbishop of, what faith. We haven't really seen faiths in Eden Zero yet. But none of them knew that Nox was here. Because Eraser is stunned. Holy's two lieutenants comment, even Saint Fire Nox? He can't be. And Victory just stunned, telling me this is some kind of sick joke. And Feather comments, and yet my Eye of Venus couldn't detect it. But how? And then we cut back to the streets, where the Shiki gang is, they've escaped the Colosseum. They're making their way towards Ziggy. And Pino comments, it would seem that the escaped Dark Stars have been eliminated by Sister and Hermit. And Happy cheers, they did it! So yeah, with that, the Dark Stars have really just been kind of, swept aside. Again, it just feels kind of weird. The way they were built up as, again, their individual fights were good, for the most part. I don't really care for Sister Clown. But there's just something odd about them being done already. I don't know. I mean, I suppose if I'm right and Ziggy is not... I theorized earlier, what if Ziggy is not meant to be the big bad of Eden Zero, but, closer to, a crocodile and One Piece figure, where he's, the big bad for, the second saga, which would make this still part of the second saga. I know the wiki calls Kaide Cosmos a new saga, which is a fair argument given that it's post-time skip. But if we're ending this arc in the next dozen or two chapters, it is ending around the time Alabasta ended in One Piece, which would fit the comparison. And he was introduced as a big bad around the time Rogueworks introduced in One Piece. It fits a comparison, is what I'm saying. And if so, it wouldn't make sense that the Dark Stars are getting wiped out around now, because they're not, main series villains, they're arc villains, I guess. I don't know. It's just, I'm not sure what Majima's final plan with Ziggy is going to end up being, is my point, I suppose. But Shiki just comments, alright, let's head to the center. And Weisz then turns to Homura. You're hurt. Are you okay? But Homura just comforts him, I'm fine, injured as I may be. And Rebecca tells them all, so once we get to the center, I release my ether and summon the chronophage. Then this planet will be completely destroyed. So that's a little unrealistic as a line of dialogue. Just her, casually stating the plan. But also, it's been a long time since we really dealt with Planet Eater as, the actual goal. So it's nice for a little reminder. Though, again, I'm not quite sure how much that will work. I can very much see the chronophage coming and, not taking enough time as a sort of, twist on Altier's, dying minute, back in the Grand Magic games in Fairy Tail. But anyway, Rebecca turns to Pino. There really aren't any citizens here, right? Pino tells her affirmative. Have the results of the Eden Zero's wide area scan. There are no life signals that appear to have originated from this... But then she notices this little beep-beep effect, and she's just stunned. Faint life signals detected. What? It is most likely human, but it is quite weak. Okay, so there's someone here. The way this chapter is set up, its title, could it be Nox? I don't know. Rebecca just questions, so there's someone who Ziggy caught? And Homer reminds them all, as I recall, Connor spoke of this. He said there were humans gathered on Lendard, and that he fled afterwards. Which, you know, is kind of, if the humans are still there, that's kind of a problem for their whole plan. So there are still survivors on this planet? What do we do? And then someone reacts, we gotta help them. Where are they, Pino? And Pino tells them all, they're down this path. And we see this sort of like dark, like base looking thing. Somewhere else. We like zoom in to its center, and it's where the gang has ended up. For a second there I thought we might be like swapping locations for like Ziggy's secret base or something. And Rebecca looks around. What is this place? And then this might be Homer's line, but I can't quite tell. It looks like the ruins of some factory. But then Pino points out, Master, over there! And everyone stops, and we see, like, oh, are those going to be, like, containment pods or something? Because whatever it is freezes Homer and Weisz to their core. As Rebecca asks, what are those? And yeah, it's just a bunch of bodies in... Oh, no. Are those not just bodies? Are those the stars? Because one here could be, like, looks kind of like Valkyrie. No, because the one in the top right looks like it might be Xiao Mei, but not one of the stars. But, like, the one below her could have been Witch. Which might explain what exactly is going on with the stars. Given that, like, you know, the fight with the Dark Stars brought up the idea they're all human, or they all were human at one point, and then kind of dropped that thread. Or maybe, like, it'll probably still get brought up at some point, but, like, the Dark Stars are dead, and so it's already lost half of its weight. And also, so are Witch and Valkyrie, so it's lost 3/4 of its weight. I don't know. But canceling my they're all the stars theory, Pino notes they are all women, and so many. And given this series, you know, some of the series' bad habits, that's a phrase that makes me a little nervous. But Happy's just confused. What's going on here? And Weisz is just trembling. Are you kidding me? And Shiki turns to him. What's wrong, Weisz? It can't be. Mom? Which ties into, you know, the whole thing with Killer back in the subdimension. That she, I guess, did get plucked out. And then we see Homura staring in front of a black-haired woman. Is this Kurenai? It is, in fact, Kurenai. Mother? The translator notes, oh lord, not this bitch again. My complicated feelings about Kurenai, and specifically fan reaction to her, or even the narrative's treatment of her in the end, is already documented. Go watch my Sunjewel videos. Suffice to say, I'm glad her fate is not just ends up a sex slave, however karmic that might feel to some. I never cared for that as her ending. But yeah, it's Kurenai. As Happy reacts, Madam Kurenai! But Weisz, who still is thinking back to his fight with Killer, is just an illusion. Guys, don't fall for it! And the translator notes, the typesetter note, not the translator, about Kurenai. She's thick, though. Argue with your shadow, I guess, about the two of them arguing in the notes, I guess. But someone that approaches them. You were told before, these are neither illusions nor holograms. That leaves no other meaning. They are all real. Who is this? Could this be Killer? If he's not, no, it's Ziggy. Every human gathered here is a mother. And there exists a particular ether only the mothers of humans have. Okay. Alright. So, there's a part of me that wants to read this as sort of like the way that like motherhood is written about in stories. We're not really equipped for that. So I'm going to talk about this from more of an Eden Zero standpoint. Well, first, Ziggy's here. That's, shit's about to go down. Especially with 200 2 pages away. But also, Mother, as a figure, is vital to the lore of this series. And, the fact that he's gathered a bunch of the bodies of mothers, that, and his goal, and Ziggy's goal is to get to Mother, the cosmic figure Mother. That all seems a little connected to me, I'm not quite sure how it's all connected, but I don't know. And, the gang is all just stunned to see him. He's collecting the ether of mothers, and Shiki just growls, Ziggy. And he removes one of the containers off the wall. Behold, this one is a mother as well. Saint Fire Knox, the mother of Rebecca. Oh. Okay. But that means Cure knows, right? Right? Because if Cure knew that all the Galactica were here, right? If Cure knew that, hold up. Okay, I need to process this. I'm going to focus on Cure first. I'm going to get to Rebecca in a second because, fist pump for one thing. But if Cure knows, the reason I'm assuming that Feather didn't see it with the Eye of Venus is because, how do I put this? Okay, my mind is racing. Give me a second. Because Nox never arrived on Lendard. At no point did Nox, or no point recently did Nox come to Lendard for the fight. She's been here the whole time. Cure knew, but how? Is Cure connected to Ziggy in some way? Does Cure seems a good deal more robotic than the other members of the Erasion? So maybe, possibly, I don't know, could Cure be in on this? I mean, Cure is not enough of a character that kind of betrayal would land. We don't know anything about them. But, I don't know. And then Rebecca, mother of Rebecca. I've been saying from the beginning of the series there was something about Rebecca that we just didn't know. There was a grander, the series was very focused on the mysteries of Shiki's birth, and I've been saying for a long, long time, there is a mystery to Rebecca's birth the series is consciously ignoring. Because she has the same sort of last name thing that Shiki does. She gave Shiki his home planet as the last name, and her last name is her home planet. Meaning she also probably did not have a last name originally. And so and the fact that was never really explored felt intentional. And yeah, because her mom is a fucking Galactica, is Saint Fire Knox, is the Archbishop, whatever the fuck that means. And yeah, we leave off with Rebecca just stunned. What? And Shiki is also stunned and a bit angrier at whatever game Ziggy's playing here. The last of the Erasion says Galactica. Her true identity is Rebecca's mother, and what are Ziggy's motives? To be continued after 200, alternative. Next issue we celebrate hitting 200 chapters, there will be a cover image and opening page in color. Okay, okay. So, that fucking Saint Fire Knox reveal. I don't know where we're going with this. I don't know what's gonna happen with this next. Okay. So, I don't know. There's a lot of things that are dropped up. They're just dropped on us in these last five or six pages. The Mother collection, and that's absolutely somehow tied to the cosmic godmother, though we don't have any idea how as of yet. And then there's the fact that he somehow got to Kurenai too. And do they have to, are they all dead? Because I think we should assume that what Killer said back in Weisz's subdimension was basically true. That's my assumption. Even if it sort of muddies the sort of, emotional crux of that fight kind of got passed over anyway. The emotional crux wasn't really important there. And so what that, sorry, I'll finish off there. And so what that means is, as she was dying, I forget exactly what Killer said, but something about getting whisked away for more, because they didn't know what had happened to her because they didn't know about Draken and the life draining thing, which means that I don't know. So if they did experiment on her to find out what had killed her, experiment on her corpse, or not corpse, if she's being sustained in fluid and Bacta or whatever. Does that mean that whatever doctors were on Norma were already in Ziggy's pocket? I mean, Ziggy was also kind of, well, no, he wouldn't have been dead at the time because that happened 60 years ago. 50 years for the time dilation, and then another probably 10 or so, maybe a little less, for our Weisz's personal timeline, which means that like Ziggy's been planning this, which I guess ties in with what Wizard said about Ziggy, it being more of Ziggy's kindly grandfather act being a temporary amnesia thing. Though Elsie believes there's more to it than that, so maybe that muddies up exactly what's going on here. Also, I guess this means that Kurenai died, which again, Kurenai's a complicated thing to me. Sunjul in total, by the end of it, was just sort of complicated thematically, like, not quite handled well thematically, or some of the implications of it I just really didn't care for. And then, yeah, there's the whole ether that only mothers of humans have. And I'm still a little bit curious, does he mean humans as in, like, as opposed to aliens or as opposed to bots? Because the series has never quite been clear on that. But yeah, everything else in this chapter just sort of feels kind of irrelevant compared to that last moment. There's the fight with Crow is still slowly pressing on. Justice has been spotted by Aknoella. Elsie is not being allowed to help out. The Interstellar all know that Nox is here, that they don't know how or when, or why Cure knows and Feather doesn't, though if they've worked that out, I doubt they'll be so trusting of Cure. But all of that seems terribly irrelevant compared to the Mother's reveal and the Nox reveal. And I genuinely don't know where Mashima is headed with this. Like, I'm excited to see what he's got in store for 200, because I genuinely don't know. And God, there's so many places this could go. With Nox being Rebecca's mom, with whatever the fuck, how the ether of mothers ties into Mother herself. There is so much going on here, and I can't fucking wait to get to the bottom of it. But until then, we have to wait a good another week. So that's going to be a pain, but I can't wait to see what comes of it. So I'm going to leave this video off here. Hope you'll enjoy the chapter and the video itself. If you did, feel free to drop me a like or subscribe, or, do whatever makes you happy, And as always, your life is your own, okay? Bye!